Howdy folks, Texas Grebner here with Texas Grebner Outdoors. New videos every Saturday, so if you don't want to miss out on your Texas Grebner Outdoors Saturday morning cartoon awesomeness, make sure to click subscribe and check my channel every Saturday for new videos. I love reading your comments, and I really appreciate all 300 of you that actually bother to watch my videos. It means a lot to me. I wouldn't bother doing it without you. Today we're going to be using a 30-06. This one happens to be empty right now. This is a rebarreled 1917 Enfield made by Remington. It's got a Redfield vintage aperture sight on it. It has a Monte Carlo style sporter stock on it. Been rebarreled. It's been converted to cock on open rather than cock on closed. Match trigger, and on the rebarreling they actually put a ramp sight on here rather than the eared sight that would have been on a standard military barrel. Anyhow, today we're going to be talking about shooting from position. This is going to be a very truncated position marksmanship course, and this rifle is in fact empty right now. However, I'm going to show you these positions in active practice once I actually explain them. I'm not going to insult your intelligence talking to you about trigger squeeze, but one thing that I do want to cover is breathing. We all have to breathe to survive, okay? However, there is a natural pause between breaths when your lungs are deflated before you take your next breath. So when you're shooting, not only is the majority of your body water, but when you breathe, you move. And to be quite honest with you, I don't have the dog soldier-like capability to actually slow down my heart rate, but we can actually modify our breathing pattern so that we are touching off our shot coinciding with our natural pause in our breath. With that being said, however, we need to establish our natural point of aim. Our body is, as I said, mostly liquid. We've got to contend with movement from our heartbeat and from our breathing. We also have to contend with the fact that we're not superhuman, okay? So we will get fatigued. The easiest way of dealing with fatigue is to have strong points of contact, either in the prone position, where I have my elbow on the ground, half of my rib cage on the ground. I bring my leg up to give me breathing room, and I have my back leg out behind me, as you can see, with my foot turned toward the ground. Next to shooting from the bench, prone is the most stable position. And so, as you can see here, I have my hand flat underneath my rifle. This is incredibly more stable if I was actually using a sling, but this is just a bare bones demonstration right now. I'm not going to get into talking about using a sling. But I have my grip on the rifle. Right now, I'm just aiming at a dandelion head out there. But I am breathing, and I'm in a good, stable position. And I modify my position to establish my natural point of aim. That way, when I'm ready to touch off a shot, I don't actually have to worry about disrupting my sights when I squeeze through to the rear, because I have established natural point of aim, I have good sight alignment, I have good sight picture, and I have squeezed through at the natural pause of my breath. So this is what a good solid prone position looks like. The next least solid is the kneeling position, but we can make it much more solid by going bone to bone. There is a little divot on the back of your elbow. There's also a divot on your knee. It's kind of like God designed you to be a rifleman. As you can see, I'm sitting with my wallet on my heel. My foot is flat to the floor, or to the deck here. This leg and this leg, you could draw a triangle right here. I'm still going to be aiming at that same dandelion head, and I've got my rifle balanced and I've adjusted my natural point of aim. I'm breathing. And at the natural pause, when I have good sight alignment, good sight picture, and my natural point of aim has settled into place, I'm just squeezing through. Everybody's least favorite position is standing, and that becomes incredibly more important with natural point of aim in our back bend and our body twist, and this I'm a little teacup pose that I'm striking here. My feet are a little bit more than shoulder width apart, and I am also twisting my firing hand hip back to tension my body. And natural point of aim, the importance of it cannot be overstated. It is incredibly important because when you're standing, you only have 2 points of contact with the ground, okay? You also have 3 points of contact with the ground when you're kneeling. Standing is what really separates the sheep from the goats when it comes to shooting a rifle in a marksman style position. It does become a little bit easier to shoot standing with a sling, and obviously this demonstration that I'm going to conclude with when I get done is only going to be at 100 yards, so I'm not trying to claim to you that I'm some kind of badass marksman by being able to actually ring a gong at 100 yards like a 10-inch gong, okay? That should be cake. That doesn't mean that there's not a chance that I might screw it up. But this I'm a little teapot pose, where I've got my tricep against my ribs, and I've got my firing hand's hip twisted back. I've got my suicide veins here up against my trigger guard. Good cheek weld. Still aiming at that same dandelion. I'm going to take my safety off. And as you can see, I've got a lot of bend in my back, and I've got a lot of twist in my body. This is to align my natural point of aim, get my breathing under control, and squeeze through at that natural pause. Standing is the most difficult position to shoot accurately from, but I admit that I take great pride in being able to shoot a marksman style standing position. So, who's ready for some live fire? I'm going to get my ear pro on. Going to get some bullets for this dirty .6. And we're going to see if I can ring the Liberty Bell down there. This is a blade of grass. This is a rifle. A rifle behind every blade of grass. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. I also hope that this video is helpful to you in making you a better marksman. Remember, new videos every Saturday, so don't forget to subscribe for your Tex Grebner Outdoors Saturday morning cartoon awesomeness. I could have done this with a .22 long rifle, but it just wouldn't have had that punch of the awesomeness that is the 30-06. As always, God bless all my sportsmen of America. Join the NRA to protect our rights. This has got my friends over at SOETacticalgear.com. Thank you very much to those of you involved in law enforcement and those of you serving in the military. And thanks for watching Tex Grebner Outdoors.